Hello, hello. You are listening to this Black Girls podcast, our inaugural episode. This is your girl, Lola. You can find me on Instagram at ola.miss.lola.
And this is your girl, Hill Diva. Hill Diva brings a fever. And you can find me on Instagram on my page, which is gugu.nation. Gugu spelled Gugu.nation.
Or you can also follow this podcast at this Black Girl Podcast on Instagram. But girl, let's just get into it. How are you doing? It's COVID season. How are you doing?
Oh, I honestly, every time I hear COVID, I just get put in another type of mood. You know?
It's been over a year since first hearing about this COVID-19 flu. March 17th, actually, I believe, or March 16th, around mid-March, will mark a year of lockdown.
I know.
How do you feel?
To be honest, like in the sense that we need this to fight this pandemic, it doesn't bother me. But to be honest, in the sense of just me being a woman and an extrovert and liking to be out and enjoying life, I can't stand it. And I really want these vaccines or whatever they need to get done so we can all, finally get past this.
But I mean, I guess for myself, like, I have mixed feelings about COVID. I love the fact that I don't have to leave the house. It's great. I love to see it. But then I also realize I like being home alone. Not always necessarily with other people. Like, yeah, sure, other people are great I don't know, I feel like it's taught me about, like, it's reminded me about boundaries. It's reminded me, like, how close we feel sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I still get cabin fever where, like, you'll see me, girl, I'll throw on a full face suit just to go to the dollar store, okay? I'm not playing.
Trust me, that's me just to take the garbage out.
Running to go to the grocery store, the essential shopping is now, like, the going out for me. And I don't mind it because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't miss, like, late night, like, running into drunk people, people falling over at the club, and like I don't miss that. I don't miss none of that.
Oh God, no. For me, it's more like I just want to go out and have a nice dinner with my ladies, have a couple of drinks on the town, and just to be honest, just the regular things that we take for granted, like just being able to have a bunch of people at my house, having a good time and not feeling like somebody sniffled. So, oh no, like Exhibit A, this is, this is, what do you call it? Patient zero.
I was going to say, like, I do love a good girls' night. I miss that. I definitely miss that because, like, especially, like, when it comes around to, like, my birthday and, like, the holidays and stuff, like, I like to do stuff to have people over and having, like, a cute little gathering because, like you said, having, like, girls, some good food, some good drinks, and some laughing, like, I'm great. I'm great. I don't need more than that. I don't need less than that,
Right, exactly.
So I definitely do miss that. I don't miss a lot of the craziness. I am a little annoyed because, like, the Desperados for Halloween.
Oh,
Can we talk about them for a minute?
Well, yes.
Like, the desperate people that were so, like, I'm sorry, who wakes up out of their bed and says, I need to put on a costume and face paint and get all hot and sweaty dancing next to a stranger for 4 hours?
Oh, gosh. Well,
Where is that?
Where is that happening?
I mean, because during Halloween, girl, there was so many Halloween parties. There was illegal parties. There was footage all over of like certain venues. I'm not gonna list them because I don't remember, so I don't want to defame anything with anybody. But like, there were a few venues that opened like low key parties that had like hundreds of people packed in there. There was like people who had parties in like tents. So technically, the tent, like a pop-up tent, so it was technically outdoors, but like. The tent has walls, so they were enclosed, and it's like people packed in clothes. I've even heard, I don't even know, I pray that this isn't in Canada. I'm praying that this is something in the U.S. But I saw footage of a sewer party.
What?
Where like there was they gave out some location, and I would go to the location. There's a sewer grate or whatever. I pretty sure this is in the States.
Did you say a sewer, like an underground, rat-infested?
You take off the lid, you take off the metal lid, and you go down the ladder, and it was a concrete and water-filled space with graffiti and party lights and club music.
Okay, no. Like at this point now, we're crossing over from COVID territory to just any STD or God knows what. Okay.
Gross. It was gross.
I can't. Like, but
yeah. So that level of desperation to be out, like I can't relate.
Okay.
I really cannot.
Well, that's definitely the contrast between the city, but in the suburbs, it was actually the complete opposite. You know, I told you before, I went to my sister's house for Halloween just to go see what my niece was up to. We didn't do anything this year. And so all I saw literally was one little girl walking on the dark street with her dad, one little witch dressed up. And she was just like, hello. And yes, literally there was nobody out. And that's usually where I would go every year. And usually there's a good, amount of kids going up and down. And I was just like, wow. But who the heck would take their kids out, though? I was like, hell no. I would never take my kids out during a pandemic.
Oh, my gosh. Neither would I. Like, could never, would never, should never.
I just, I understand why parents might want to do that, but I just think that the risks outweigh the rewards. Like, go to Dollarama.
I was going to say some friggin' dollar store candy, like, seriously?
Right. Like, you're not getting anything that you can't buy yourself. Like, unless you're going to Bill Gates' house. Like, maybe that's the only time I go during a pandemic. Okay? I get some iPads, throw in some AirPods, iBuds, whatever the heck you want to call them. I'll go for that, but not for no dollar candy.
Okay, so like speaking of COVID and things that are not worth it, okay? Toronto, I know your region can't relate. I'm not going to specify which region that is, but Toronto is in stage 2, a modified stage 2. So retail stores closed. Specialty stores, we don't know her. Only things that are open is like essentials, so like the Walmart, even Costco got fined for selling non-essential items during the pandemic.
Are you serious? For selling what?
$5,000 blanking dollars for selling non-essentials during a pandemic.
No, but like what are they considering non-essential?
Non-essentials, I have no clue.
And that's stupid. And first off, $5,000 is like 2 cents to Costco. So I don't.
No, that's their hot dog money. That's their hot dog money during their lunch hour. They don't care.
Thank you. That's like the $1.50 free hot dogs exactly that they give to them. So that's nothing. Like, why? Make it 50,000 and maybe you'll turn their head. But I don't even think that. But that's not even that's like one employee, one part-time employee them firing. So what they really did is lost somebody a job during COVID.
Oh gosh, let's hope not.
Okay.
Let's hope not. But yeah, so we're modified stage 2 because there's a lot of places that are closed. There are a few places that are open. Obviously, it's a lot of what they deem as essential. So I guess essential for life/work. I guess a lot of people work from home. So, like the Staples are open, the Best Buys are open, the Starbucks are open, the Walmarts are open, yada yada yada.
Right.
as you obviously must have heard of, most people in Toronto have heard of, there is the BBQ Guy. I refuse to name him by name, and I refuse to name his business because we don't endorse these types of businesses. You get what I'm saying? But we're going to talk about it just a little.
Okay.
So BBQ Guy, who's in the Toronto region, decided to reopen his business. His business was not eligible for dine-in patrons. His business is eligible for deliveries, for takeout even, but not dine-in. He was so offended by not being able to be eligible for dine-in that he opened for dine-in anyway. So the first day of the lockdown, he opened for dine-in. Police came, asked him to close down. After some persuasion, he closed down, and then reopened the second day. During the second day, the ministry, I think it was some health body, some health government representation, whatever. I think it was Toronto Public Health, health inspection. They mandated that he close down. They're like, due to issues with COVID, modified issues, yada, 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 please close down. You need to close down. He closed down. And was told to not reopen. So then the third day came around and he opened again. The police returned a third time, and it was after that third time that he was finally arrested, not without another person of a different race who was taken down as well, because he was so upset that this particular man, who was illegally reopening his business, was being arrested for it, decided to throw punches at police officers, and is now also facing 7 charges on top of this original man's 9 charges.
Okay, this is ridiculous now. Like, this is out of order. Like, what is Jerry Springer?
It gets better.
I can't.
So once he got arrested, there was a GoFundMe page for this man who owns 3 businesses, by the way. This man who owns 3 businesses, he had a GoFundMe raised for him. They wanted to raise $10,000 towards his legal fees for being arrested. Before the end of the day, they raised over $45,000.
Wow.
By the time he was released on bail, he had raised $190,000, just under. And by the time he left the police station out on bail and headed to an anti-mask rally to encourage other businesses and patrons to open up their businesses, he had raised almost $301,000.
I feel like a bunch of Trump supporters in the States are watching this crap and are trying to get the Canadians buck wild. Like, I don't know. Honest to God, I don't know. Like, what is going on right now? At the end of the day, like, I understand, small businesses wanting to keep their businesses going, but you were not shut down, boo-boo. Like, you were able to do takeout. I think that is reasonable considering the times right now. It's not that deep.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. With takeout, I slightly understand as a heavy user of the various apps. I'm not going to name them because they're not sponsoring us. But as those users, a user of those types of apps, like when you have to get it delivered, you have to pay the delivery fee, you have to pay a tip, you have to do all of this type of stuff, which adds to your bill and can easily add like $10 on top of your original bill when you could, go to the place and pick up the food. But in that case, though, I'm still agreeing with you because guess what? You can have takeout or you can have pickup. You can order something for pickup. Have a pickup window. I've seen so many places all over the city that have set up their own modified pickup stations where they have a bar, not barred, but covered space where you can't interact with the person. They slide your order, you confirm your order number, they present you your order, you pick it up and you go. He could easily be doing this. What is the need to have an extra 20 bodies in your store for? Because no tea, no shade. It's not like his restaurant is feeding hundreds of people.
Right.
Okay.
And you've got 3 locations. Why are you that upset? Just go on and double up on the marketing, double up on getting that word out, and do what you're doing, you know, try to somehow get creative and try to adjust your services. But to tell all these other crazies, you know, just come and beat up cops with me while because you know what? I heard that this man too, the third time when he got into his store, he wasn't even allowed to be on the premises after the health department came and shut him down.
They broke down the wall. They broke down a wall.
Yeah, I already lied. Like, what? I can't. Like, how are you breaking and entering in your own restaurant?
Right?
I'm done.
Property. I wonder if he's going to claim his insurance on that. And I hope the insurance, if he buys various insurance company, I hope you deny him. And I hope you use this podcast as evidence, because we are talking about a documented event. It happened earlier in the week. We're recording on Sunday. This happened exactly a week ago. Okay, this whole thing, you can follow it. Just scale it back 1 week. Time stamp it.
I'm just, it's crazy. Let's just agree this man is off of the edge. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe him.
The audacity. It's what I've called last year I named 2019 the audacity. 2020 doesn't have a name yet. It's been a wild ride.
Oh my God. Roller coaster, yeah.
Roller coaster. But it will be named eventually. But 2019 was the audacity. It's still dragging over hard into 2020. This person is like patron saint right now of audacity, because it's like, I feel for small businesses. You have a small business. I have a small business. Other people we know have small businesses. So like, I feel it. Like, it's hard for everybody right now. But the whole point right now is to be creative. It's not like people aren't spending money. They are spending money because they're at home a bit more. They're seeing more things.
Right.
So you have to be creative by doing something like this that risks public health and public safety is just not it's not cute.
I agree. Exactly. And I feel sorry for the people who are that desperate for chicken and ribs that they're willing to run out of their home, their health, that of their counterparts, their peers, their family members who may be susceptible to this and at risk. So it's not that deep. It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. Literally Google on YouTube how to make ribs.
Honestly.
Very easy. Very easy. Google's your best friend.
And Food Network. Like, you're home anyway, okay? Start making something. Just put down the bread recipes and just make your own ribs. But honestly, but on to our next topic. Speaking of the crazy 2020 and people who just don't want to listen to the law, Donald Trump.
Oh, girl. You know what? Okay. I'm going to preempt this now because we're already riding the waves in terms of timelines right now. I want you to say what you need to say. I'm just going to sit back and indulge because I love hearing you go off.
You're killing me. No, like, Donald Trump, I was going to introduce him as the professional squatter in chief, denying, he's an Egyptian because he's in denial consistently. And so therefore he's an immigrant, and therefore, you know, they should check his birth certificate. Let's start that birther story, okay?
Come on, congratulations to President-elect Biden for winning not once, not twice, not three, but 4 times.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations. Also, side note, it was published today, his communications team has been announced, and it is made up of all women. 7 women. His communications department, including, I believe, 2 to 3 people of color, with 2 women specifically who are Black.
Wow. Well, good for him. Honestly,
ready to change.
I'm impressed. And I will say, too, one thing I do like about Joe Biden is that the fact that he chose Kamala Harris as his running mate.
He did that for clout.
I was so impressed. And I know.
Can I be honest? Girl, if this was 4 years ago and he was running against Barack Obama, it would not be Kamala Harris.
Of course not. Of course not. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. To be honest, Kamala Harris can thank George Floyd for that, okay? Let's be real here. A lot of people right now getting raises and all that can all thank George Floyd. And I don't mean that even as a snub or anything. It's just a reality. That was the really paradigm shift moment where the whole world really saw the reality of Black people in America and what risks they take even leaving their door every day to go get a pack of cigarettes. Okay, so that is, that was the eye-opener moment that really showed people, wow, like it was undeniable instance of racism, right, that people had to face. But why I like
squash and cheese. Now back to the squash and cheese.
Yeah, no, I was going to, on this last quick note of Kamala Harris, why I'm glad he picked her is because the fact that Joe Biden is 78, God bless his soul, okay? So I'm not putting nothing on him. But she might be the first female president by the end of these 4 years, okay? We don't know. So I am so happy for her to even be running beside him. This also opens doors for her to one day be the next president. You never know. You never know, right? So I'm so glad because he's actually the oldest elected president in U.S. history. So
yes, he is at the age of 78.
Now let's go back to the second oldest. Okay, and the sourest president in U.S. history.
Curdled milk.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Is that
Donald Trump? I honestly have no words for this man. I have no words for someone who claims to be the toughest man in the land. He's the law and order, president of the United States. The fact that he can't even face the fact that he lost this election and all he does is feed people with, Twitter scandals and, it's this controversy and it's that and this conspiracy this and conspiracy that. First off, when this man even caught COVID, okay, before he caught COVID, he's there peddling sperm doctors and witch doctors and hydrochloroquine and, let's inject bleach and risking people's lives. Like, some of his supporters are not that bright. But the moment this man catches it, why didn't you call the voodoo doctor? I saw all these white people behind you, all these professional white men at Westmount or wherever it was, Westgate.
Where was his supply of Lysol to inject into his blood?
Right. Where was the bleach? I thought he was going to call Mr. Clean, get the bleach out. Call Mrs. the sperm doctor lady, the voodoo lady. I don't know who she was. Nowhere to be found. Okay.
I'm so thankful. What I thought was like poetic karmatic justice was when I believe he demanded a recount in Georgia, the state of Georgia, okay? Because he thought, this whole Joe Biden stole the election, yada, yada, bull. They did a recount. Girl, why did Joe Biden, they found Joe, extra 130 votes for Biden.
I love it. I love it.
I died, girl. I thought that was too funny. I felt like when I saw that, I was like, "Oof, sir, just pack it in,
right?"
Pack it in. And pack it in. I feel like you decided to quit. Just even if you don't want to give up and concede, just say you know what, I've done my job and I did it the best that anybody in the world will ever do it, and nobody can top this. But I need to take a break. So you could have even done that.
Of course.
Okay, sir. Okay. Goodbye.
The thing is, though, too, that about him is what I like and both dislike is the fact that he is really showing who he is and not accepting the truth by denying the truth, by creating all these lies. He's showing us who he is. This guy is garbage. It just makes me sick that 70 million people were willing to sacrifice their country and the freedom of a lot of other people, the dignity for a lot of people of color, people of, different backgrounds and levels of socioeconomic status.
I was gonna say it shows you their character, that it's
of course.
You're so selfish and self-centered that you'd rather put yourself first and set fire to everybody else behind you, burn the bridge behind you.
Right, exactly. In
order to quote unquote get ahead.
Right. And it just makes me sick to my stomach to know that this man was so ready to just let that country burn. So I'm just so glad that Joe Biden won and he has to suck on all of that, watch this man get inaugurated in January and watch his butt get dragged off to jail. We'll see.
Trust me, Lord willing, we'll see. But you know what? We're just about at that time. So I think for now, we'll wrap it up.
Yep, I'm gonna wrap it up right now. We could edit this. I'm gonna end it right now because at the end of the day, we had gotten cut off. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cut it off right now.
And so we're back. A few technical difficulties. We're getting into the thick of it. But you know what? Let's move away from the rotting orange pumpkin.
Hey, don't insult pumpkins like that.
That's true. Pumpkins are pretty healthy.
Honestly.
But did you get a chance to see Dave Chappelle's Unforgiven?
Yes, I did. And honestly, I'm so glad I did. I am so glad I watched that because it actually popped up on me earlier today when I was just kind of scamming my YouTube, and I saw another comedian give kind of a review of it and just about how deep Chappelle got. And the funny thing is they did talk a lot about how the audience was so not ready for what he had to say.
Yeah.
You know, and when I watched it, I felt that because no one was, you know, you're expecting him to be funny all the time, but I love the way that Dave Chappelle, like, he's literally grown and come of age just so naturally within himself. And he's not trying to gain our respect. Like, he just has it. His words just earn it every time he opens his mouth. And it touched me. It touched me to watch that special, if you want to call it that. It really touched me because he's been wronged, and they need to pay this man his money.
Oh, girl, absolutely. And the thing is, like, I find like he kind of has turned. It feels like he's directed his humor to like that uncomfortable humor where you hear something and you uncomfortably laugh. You laugh because it bothers you. And I like the fact that he's trying to make people uncomfortable by getting a little too real, whereas that expectation for comedy shows is to just like kind of escape reality and to laugh at these. So he like kind of brings you right back down to earth and is like, sorry, wrong stage. If you
exactly. It's so true. Everybody left their baggage at home to come there and get smacked in the face with his. I was dying. And I loved it though. And you could tell too, I also felt that the audience is obviously starstruck, you know? So if I'm sitting in a nice little intimate setting with a small crowd, or I don't know how big the crowd was, but it didn't feel too huge. And Dave Chappelle is just sitting on his little stool, talking so candidly. You're expecting it to be funny. You think, okay, oh my God, it's Dave Chappelle. What's he gonna say next? You know?
Yeah.
So, but to give everybody a brief backstory, in Unforgiven, Dave Chappelle basically sits down, does like a monologue talking about his life, and he ties several instances from his younger days as a comedian. He actually started out at age 14. I'm so impressed. That alone, I was so touched when he said that. I'm like, when I was 14, I couldn't even, like, doing a presentation in front of my class felt like I needed an Oscar for that.
A nightmare. Yeah.
A nightmare, don't kill me. I like doing them, but I could never think of saying something funny in front of a whole crowd of people. And he was actually really good. Anyways, he talks about, getting, when he was young, going through the trials and tribulations of being an upcoming comedian. And he ties that into as he grows and as his career develops and he's coming of age. He's in his late 20s, having more trials and tribulations, and how, getting bad deals.
Yeah.
Getting bad deals and getting ripped off by your, what do you want to call it? Your label or whatever
your employer, your boss.
Yeah, just your boss. Exactly. Whoever gave you that spotlight. Right. So He's talking about that, and at the end, he does a call to action for people to stop watching his show on HBO Max. He's not boycotting HBO, but he's saying stop watching it because he is not getting paid for that content because he signed a bad contract. So I definitely encourage everybody to watch that because you see a man pour out his heart. And I feel like you don't see enough of Black men showing that emotional side on media to show that, you know, we're not a bunch of just tough as nails, tough, hard back friggin' people. You know, Black people have feelings, Black people have emotions, Black people have dreams, aspirations, goals. We get disappointed, we get hurt, we cry, we have soft spots just like everybody else. Just because you don't see us front and center on every silver screen having emotions and writing letters to Jen and Romeo and Juliet doesn't mean that we don't have those feelings, we don't have those love stories, and we don't have
Absolutely. Well, I was going to say the standout moment for me, which goes back to exactly what you're saying, is the fact that Dave Chapelle called Netflix because Netflix had received access to the Chapelle Show and was going to start broadcasting and premiering the Chapelle Show on Netflix. He contacted Netflix and said, hey, this intellectual property belongs to me. However, I'm not getting paid for it. It hurts my feelings to have this show on a platform that I share with you. Can you please take it down? And they did.
The next day. I know. I loved hearing that.
Oh, girl, when I say like that touched me so deep, that because like, you know, a lot of shows, well, not even a lot of shows, but a lot of companies only care about their pockets.
Yeah.
You know, and the Chapelle Show is iconic in terms of like his work that really kind of built off his career, and it hurts that something that's so iconic and so legendary and so synonymous with him is not not benefiting him. And I'm just thankful that like they had enough integrity as a company to just be like, you know what, okay, not a problem, and they just took it down.
Yeah, I agree. And it just shows the respect.
Yeah.
And that is what people of color all deserve. You know,
Absolutely.
You should not have to be a head executive, the wife of the head executive, the daughter of the head executive, the niece, the nephew, the cousin, the uncle of the head executive. Thank you. In order to get basic human decency.
Absolutely. And I appreciate them showing that. They will get my membership for another month, another $13.95. Netflix, you've done good.
Trust me, that $13.99 doesn't hurt anymore officially. Okay,
it hurts a little less.
It hurts a little less coming out. Yes, honestly. And like, I just applaud Dave Chapelle. I have to applaud him because this has been going on for decades. A lot of artists and comedians have been going through this, and not everybody talks about it. So for him to just come out and just be so candid and talk about the real tea, just give the real tea of the situation. I respect that. I love that.
The transparency.
Yes.
The transparency for me.
Yes, I love it. And it gets me going. A man that is just so about his, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. But a man that is just so about his craft, and he takes it so serious. And this man's got millions in the bank. Like you said, I think you told me earlier he got a $60 million deal at Netflix.
Yes, he did.
So he's good.
Specials.
You know, he's not hurting. But the fact that they went and created rumors about this man, that he was on crack, and that he went crazy. I'm like, how dare you? That's where the racism enters it. And I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? Because we're nearing the end of this episode. We will save that like semi-deep dive of Dave Chappelle's career and how they tried to derail it. We'll dissect it for another episode.
Yes, we shall.
That itself deserves like full attention.
It really does.